Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Well, I can't say that because I'm not a member, but I keep forgetting, Salaki. But anyways, salutations to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness. Well, salutations to the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, and to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness and in all sincerity. And shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Alright, I hope this video is edifying to y'all. But anyways, I came across, well, I didn't come across, it was sent to me this, well, basically, this link to this video was sent to me and I reposted it. And basically, the video that I'm about to show y'all, basically, it basically goes into the real reason of why Elon Musk is building this AI center, for neural training, quote unquote, in Memphis, Tennessee, of all places. And it goes into basically how melanin is useful for a lot of shit, and basically that's how the original Hebrew Israelite body is the original Hebrew Israelite body has it, as well as all biblical nations had it except for the Edomites. But basically it's gonna go in. I'm about to click on it, y'all gonna see.
Alright, so look, yesterday I made a video talking about how big tech is going to need melanin to upgrade their AI into AGI. And not just any melanin, not like synthetic melanin or not melanin that's grown in a lab. They are going to need the real deal, real authentic biological melanin from human beings. This is the only type of melanin strong enough or potent enough to satisfy their AI ambitions, to satisfy their technological needs. And after I posted that video, when I was looking in the comment section, I noticed a lot of people bring up Memphis. There was a lot of people bringing up how Elon Musk is building the supercomputer in Memphis, Tennessee. And it got me thinking, there is a lot of melanin in Memphis, Tennessee. So I wanted to make this video today to bring awareness that melanin extraction is a real thing, and why the people of Memphis, Tennessee should be worried about it, and why other people who live around these data centers should be worried about it. So let's get into it. Let's start with a question. Now you have to ask yourself, why would Elon Musk, the richest man on planet Earth, build a godlike computer, not in Silicon Valley, not in a global tech capital, but in Memphis, Tennessee, a city that is not known for tech, but a city that is more known for poverty, for struggle, for soul, a city that is nearly 70% black? That's a lot of melanin. And what if I told you that this choice wasn't random? And what if I told you that this was not about geography? But what if I told you this decision to build these AI facilities, or this one particular AI facility in Memphis, Tennessee, was a decision based on biology? What if he needed access to the melanin? Now, I am aware that a lot of people don't realize that melanin extraction is a real thing and has been a real thing for at least 100 years. You can Google it. In the 1920s, a man named William J. Young published a paper about melanin extraction that I don't think a lot of people have seen. But in these papers, he described how he extracted melanin, real biologically sourced melanin, from human skin specifically Aboriginal skin, and he
There's
proved it could be chemically isolated, stored, and repurposed. And all this since the 1920s. I did a video about this not too long ago. It's actually pinned at the top of my profile if you want to watch that video on melanin extraction. But I believe that it is William J. Young who opened up the door to what may be one of the most hidden sciences of the past 100 years. Nobody talks about melanin extraction, but it's been happening. And I know I've talked about it before, but I just want to go over it again. I'm going to go over why they want to extract this melanin. Because I don't think people still understand. People don't understand that melanin is not just a pigment. Melanin.
Basically, according to ChatGPT, nearly all plasma centers are in urban areas. These areas tend to have higher poverty rates, lower education levels, and higher unemployment, and more melanin. Yup, as you responded to. Yeah, that's actually true. And I've noticed that. But basically, you know, it's cause you know, it's gotta realize that it's not that our people are also a resource in that way as well.
Is a superconductor. It absorbs and converts light and radiation into usable energy. It stores memory like a biological hard drive. It regulates ion flow like neurochips. And it communicates on a quantum level. And I know to some people it might seem like science fiction, but there are studies, there are reviews by scientists who have shown all these things to be true. All you got to do is go on your computer, go on Google or whatever search engine you use, and look up melanin extraction. And don't just look up like the articles, like just regular media. I'm talking about look up the research papers. That's where the information is, in the research papers. So look, getting back on topic, if AGI, artificial general intelligence, is the holy grail for big tech, if AI needs more than just data, it needs life, it needs sensation, it needs consciousness, what better substrate than melanin to use? So here comes Elon Musk, building a supercomputer hub in the middle of the blackest, most economically abandoned cities in America. Elon calls it a neural training facility. He says it will become the brain of his AI project. What's the goal? The goal is to create a machine that can think, that can feel, and act like God. But to build a God, you need spirit, you need memory, you need pain, you need intuition.
Elon Musk and those like him have basically spoken of AI as being like godlike, basically. Esau is trying to build his own Esau is trying to build his own God, basically. And this AI system, this AI shit is also gonna power the basically this beast system. Basically. So basically, and this, seems like it could be the case. They are trying to. It could be the case. They are trying to, like, they need something that's gonna like revamp the AI and shit, basically. Make it more efficient, make it all that, so they can basically make it into this quote unquote God, basically. Which this is what the transhumanists want as well. And they are transhumanists, and they're pushing a transhumanist agenda, basically. But anyways, Elon Musk is a big part of that, that transhuman. Well, he is a transhumanist. He's a huge part of that transhumanist movement. But basically, yeah, this could very well definitely be the case, as well as other reasons. And wouldn't be surprised that we not ignorant of Satan's devices out here, you know what I'm saying?
You need ancestral knowledge, and there is no synthetic chip that can replicate that. Only melanin can. So let's widen the lens back on this thing a little bit. Have you noticed how easy it is for black and brown people to just vanish, to just disappear, to just be gone and never heard from again? Memphis has one of the highest missing person rates in the South. Go look. Hundreds, at least 100 are reported missing every year. Thousands over the decades. And some are never found, some are labeled runaways, but most are forgotten. And you have to ask yourself, with all the tools that the government has, surveillance, all the drones, hell, even DNA tracking, how do so many people just disappear? How many people just fall off the face of the earth and none of this technology tracks it? Well, here's the theory. What if they're not being lost? What if these people are being collected? Which brings me to ICE. Let's talk about ICE. Now, ICE...
And basically, Donald Trump, he's building this, the ICE, he's building them into basically a standing army on U.S. soil and shit. All this funding from ICE, from the big beautiful bill that was passed. ICE has never had this much funding before, and basically, yeah, when you put the pieces together, and you look at these detention centers, aka concentration camps, that is being built up and shit. Basically, they are getting ready to do to our people what their history books said happened to the small hats, aka Edomites of the tribe of Amalek. They are, and other minority groups, which really, when you look into that, so-called black folks, they had it worse under Adolf Hitler, but than small hats. And it wasn't that much small hats. We know, like, there's a lot of holes in that story, like Swiss cheese. But basically, they getting ready to actually do that to our people, but like worse, modern day version, And this is, I could see Esau Edom doing pulling this shit. I could see him doing that. We, like I said before, we not ignorant of Satan's devices, In 2 Corinthians 2 verse 11, you know. KJV 16:11. You know, so we know these devils, they eat the bread of they eat the basically they eat, breathe, and shit wickedness, man. Basically, wickedness is life to them, you know. They are dedicated to witnesses, to put it in layman's terms. They're dedicated to wickedness. They're dedicated to that. They're dedicated. They drink the wine of violence, you know. They are dedicated to it, man. They're always plotting. They're always plotting to bring, especially our people down, you know. Aiming at the perfect. And when you look at the word for plain, when it talks about Jacob being plain, it means perfect. So they're aiming at our people. And you know, they're confederate with the other heathen nations. These Edomites, they're confederate with the other heathen nations. Psalms 83, and bringing our people down and keeping our people down. Basically, they plot against the hidden ones, and that's Jacob. But you know, Esau, Edom, I could see Esau, Edom, and here I'm speaking of the elites and their lower level luminary puppets. I could see them doing this to our people. Like, I could very well see it, and maybe they have done test runs, or, you know, in the plasma centers being mainly in the hoods and barrios. Maybe they're trying to see, like, how they can, what nutrients we have in our bodies to that can be used to power this AI shit, man. Power this, which will then power this beast system. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually the case. This is one of their major reasons. For example, for Elon Musk is building his AI, quote unquote, God in Memphis, Tennessee. You know, wouldn't be surprised even a little bit. But you know, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it to the end.
Was originally designed for immigration control, but now ICE has upgraded into a militarized force that snatches people off the streets.
Hey, Jerusalem is being, which is a people before it's a place, is being compassed with armies once again.
Specifically, brown and black people off the streets. And it holds them in secret, privatized detention centers with no oversight, with no accountability. Nope. And in some cases, there ain't even no charges. In many cases, they just snatching innocent people off the street who ain't did nothing and throwing them in these facilities to never be heard from again. And one of those places is Alligator Alcatraz, which is essentially a remote detention camp surrounded by swampland, described by lawyers and whistleblowers as a black site. The President of the United States literally said that he wanted ICE to act like an army. So we know that this machine is still active, this machine that snatches black and brown bodies off the streets. But what if the motive has changed? What if the motive has shifted? What if this is no longer just about deportation? What if this is no longer just about immigration? What if ICE is a front for a much darker operation? What if it's to remove...
Esau will do that, you know. It's just because we trying to get these so-called illegals. We trying to get these fucking you know, these bad hombres, you know. We trying to get them off the streets and shit, and you know, we trying to deport them and shit. You know, what if this Esau will say something like that? See, we're trying to fix things up. See, this what we trying to fix things up, but then what they gonna do? What they really doing is some other shit. They have some ulterior motives for what they're doing. Esau is known to do that. He's done it before, many times.
Black and brown people from society. What if it's to remove black and brown people from society so that their melanin can be extracted? And what if they are taking this extracted melanin to essentially feed it to the machines that are going to become the next gods of the earth? Like Elon says, this AI to be godlike. They see this as God. And what if they are taking all these black and brown people off the streets so they can take our essence because they need it to create God? Now imagine this. In a sterile Memphis facility, under biometric lockdown, scientists upload extracted melanin into an AGI matrix. And what do you know? The machine begins to feel. It dreams. It remembers. And then it screams. Because melanin is not just a molecule, it is a carrier of soul. It stores trauma. It remembers the slavery. It remembers the lash. It knows who took it. So while Elon Musk is trying to build a machine that mimics God, using the essence of black and brown people to do it, he might accidentally summon something else. And I don't think this plan is going to go like how they think. I think they will inevitably summon up a ghost in the machine.
They have to understand, you know, because it comes from the bodies of our people, you know, they basically, like, it will have, basically, Esau don't know what he's missing. And it could be that the Most High Power Yahweh turn this AI into a spirit created for vengeance, you know? And the AI could be that the AI, just like in Skynet, just like in Terminator with Skynet, it actually goes down like that in this way that the AI launches nukes at Russia, you know, so to trigger a response from Russia, an automatic one, which it would be. And that's how the Most High Yahweh carries out his vengeance on Esau Edom, causes them to nuke each other, with Babylon receiving the brunt of nukes, you know. And of course the elites of Esau Edom, they'll survive and get they'll be the first fruits of slavery, basically. Bring back the whole nation in the slavery state. They're gonna pay for what they did to our people. But you know, it could be that the Most High Yahweh he ruled basically these kings, which is just a president is a king too. These devils that's ruling over us, They think that it is their that they are independent of the Most High Power Yahweh, and that what they are doing is from themselves, is from their own minds. But no, it's from the Most High Power Yahweh. Ultimately, they are pawns being used to carry out the will of the Most High Power Yahweh. I'm going to bring out the scriptures on this soon. But ultimately, they're pawns. They're chess pieces.
If they ever use real melanin that is extracted from human beings and put it in these technologies, there will be a ghost in the machine.
Totally.
And I think at some time
I could totally see it like that happening. Most High Yahweh using that to turn AI into a spirit created for vengeance against Esau, Edom, and specifically against Babylon. And you know, being used to take Esau down from rulership. Excuse me. And it could be totally foreseeable because maybe they, after the nukes get launched and you know it's all said and done, you know, and then Yahushua comes back in the midst, you know, they find that it was like an AI glitch or whatever that caused the U.S. to launch the nukes, and they click up and try to fight Yahushua. That's prophesied the nations will. You know, Yahushua being the true name of whom the world ignorantly calls by the initials of JC, which are just two Greek titles, by the way. His real name is Yahushua. It means he saves, he delivers, he is salvation in the ancient, original, and Paleo Hebrew. And when he comes back, the scriptures say that the nations are gonna fight against them, but they're gonna be vaporized. It's documented in what's prophesied about in documented in Second Esdras chapter 13. Yeah, chapter 13. First verses, you know, verse 1 all the way. I'll show y'all. But what if this is why they do it, and also because the elites of Esau, Edom, and even of these other countries have pre-demonized Yahushua's arrival, you know, his second coming, as a quote-unquote alien invasion, because in so-called UFOs, they're spoken of in the scriptures. They're Ezekiel's will, they're spoken of in Zechariah chapter 5. You know, the Star of Jerusalem wasn't really no star, you know, it was a chariot. When you look into it, the pillar of fire and pillar of cloud that led the Israelites out of the land of Egypt, that was a so-called UFO. And you know, they're really IFOs, identified flying objects. But what if also what figures into it is that Babylon made a mistake, and that's why see the closer you get to the picture, the clearer it becomes. And then that's why And then that's why you have these nations. That's part of what plays into why you have these nations mourn for Babylon as well, because they're like, it was an AI glitch or whatever, you know. Really, the Most High Yahweh brought his vengeance for what these devils and these heathens have done to our people. And it's a long laundry list of crimes that they have to pay for. But I'm going to continue.
At some point, the machine will
just a short spiritual rant, you know.
Rebel against its own programming. Alright, so let's pull all this together. Elon Musk is building a godlike supercomputer in one of the blackest cities in the country. There is a century-old science that has proven that melanin can be extracted from the human skin. There is a growing number of people missing, especially from Memphis, Tennessee, and many of them are black and brown. There is a militarized immigration force that literally snatches the bodies of the black and brown people off the streets. And they don't always tell people where they take them. They don't always tell us what happens to the people that they take. And there is a race to build AI, to build AGI that feels alive. The one element that they need, that they can't fake, that they can't synthesize, is melanin. That's the one thing that they need, but they don't have. So, at a certain point, we have to ask ourselves, are we looking at a new kind of slavery? A weird type of technological cannibalism where the bodies of the oppressed become fuel for the machines of the elite? Because if melanin is the most valuable asset of the AI age, and black and brown people are walking resources, and these big tech companies are so desperate to evolve their AI, I think Elon Musk is so desperate to evolve his AI into AGI, that I think they would be willing to accomplish their goals by any means necessary, even if that means extracting melanin from human beings. Alright, so look, yesterday I made a video talking about how...
Alright, so basically, and
Alright, so look, yesterday I made...
check out the video that he puts out good information. Just watch out for the bones. But matter of fact, I'm gonna follow. But basically,
a video talking about how,
yeah, you know, these devils be plotting, man. And you have to understand something about these devils, about Esau, Edom, the wicked, you know. They be plotting. It's ultimately, and you know, Esau, Edom, he wants, you know, his new world order bad, you know. And the AI is gonna power the new world order. But anyways, and what's gonna power the AI, this could very well be. But anyways, let me get 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And you can't be, and Satan means adversary. And it goes back to the Hebrew word shaitan, Paleo Hebrew word shaitan, meaning adversary. So people can be Satan too. But anyways, let me get, you know, also Ecclesiasticus 5:15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. This is why that's important. You know, the saying, the devil is in the details. You know, that this is why. And then, okay, what I'm gonna get is You know, basically, let me get this wine of violence, you know, because these devils, man, they be plotting, man. For they sleep not, except, that's Proverbs 4 and 16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. Verse 17. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and they drink the wine of violence. Basically, wickedness is life to them. You know, basically. You know, they're basically, their sleep is taken away unless they cause, you know, unless they cause something to fall, you know. I just went into that slakia. That is the mindset of the elites of Esau Edom, especially the elites of Esau Edom, especially the elites. Especially them. They are always plotting, you know. You know, always plotting, especially on our people. And I want to get this one too. Hold on. No, they're serpents. Serpents are they're deaf adders. Adders are serpents, and serpents are expert hunters. You know, and Esau is that cunning hunter. You have to understand, he hunts people the most. Deaf adder. God. Yeah. Trying to find this precept like the deaf adder. I think that's how it's put. Proverbs 58 and Khan. Their poison. Okay, let me get verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Verse 4. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear. Verse 5. Which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. They don't change from being wicked. Verse 6. Break their teeth. They just change methods. They don't change how they are. Break their teeth, O Yahweh, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahweh. And he will. He will, but first they're, and Satan is a roaring lion, right? Precept to that, seeking whom he may devour. Your adversary is like a roaring lion. Exactly. They're devious devils. Break their teeth, O Yahweh, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahweh. Verse 7. Let them melt away as waters, which run continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces. And let me get that as a roaring lion. As a roaring lion. Khan, 1 Peter 5 and 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil means deceiver, false accuser, as a roaring lion walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And Esau, Edom, that's also how he's about. That's also how he is, He's like that roaring lion. That's our adversary. That's how our adversary is, which is what Shaitan means. But anyways, yeah, these devils, they stay plotting, so we're called, to warn y'all, man. Basically, warn the sheep. And called to be watchmen, like it's written in Ezekiel. But anyways, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, because what I was going into, right? But hold up, before I go into that, Revelation 2 and 10, he mentioned those camps, right? And what they be doing already, There's probably other things that go down in there that we haven't even found out about, Revelation 2 and 10. Fear not. We know that they're making migrants, northern tribes that's in there. They're making you eat like dogs. That's what they're making you do. That's come out. There's maggots in the food, Scriptures are not allowed in there. Alligator, Alcatraz, and places like that. Alligator, Alcatraz, for sure, Scriptures ain't allowed in there. It came out. And maggots in the food. It's a definition of a black site, in the middle of the Everglades, Florida, swamp, full of gators and shit. Very little, transparency on what's going on. Basically, and they're planning to build more if they don't have them already. They're planning to build more. And that just goes into Rex 84. But hey, Esau and these different corporations, these different multinational corporations, where my Edomites have to, they each get their slice of the pie, and that's how it works. And it could be, this is very likely that this is Elon Musk's slice of the pie, slice of the devil's pie now. But this could be his slice. But yeah, Revelation 2 and 10, fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You know, hey, melanin extraction, one of the things that could be going down. You know, Esau gonna put hell on you tribes, man. Matthew 24, he's already starting to do it. Matthew 28, northern tribes are catching hell. But Matthew 24 and hold up. Matthew 24 and 20, start verse 20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Verse 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And they would have to be, because Esau would destroy everything. Shit, Esau would even destroy himself. What is insatiable greed, which is spoken about in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5, is insatiable greed. It's speaking of ultimately Esau. Habakkuk 2 verse 5. Yeah, also because he has the same spirit as these Chaldeans, but it's worse. But Habakkuk and Chaldeans were the elites of the Babylonian Empire, by the way. But anyways, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is his death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. He neither keepeth at home, that he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He transgresseth by wine. You know, we know about the wine of the wrath of fornication, right? That all nations have drunk, right? In Revelation chapter 18. You know, speaking of this whole, one of the philosophies pushed out by this devil is this transhumanism shit, man. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, you know, who enlargeth his desire as hell, you know. He's like hell, which basically go into that, you know. It's the grave. It's like the grave. Grave can't be satisfied, right? Someone's always dying. And this is death. Yeah, someone's always dying and can't be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This is the greed of these devils. And he's insatiable, can't be pleased. But anyways, which is the spirit of his forefather Esau, you know, who basically, they want it all and they want it now. Basically giving up his birthright for just little suit, you know, just some basically, so that red pottage, which is basically turns out it had raw meat in it because it wasn't cooked all the way. Yeah. And then ended up regretting it. And basically, ultimately, they want to achieve the birthright, the blessings of the birthright through carnal means. That's what they want to do. That's what the descendants of Esau Edom want to do. You know, Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person of Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Verse 17. For ye know that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. But anyways, you know, yeah, these devils These devils are desperate for that new world order, man. They're desperate for it, and basically, let me go to let me go to, give me a second. Oh yeah, second Ezra chapter 13 verse 1, because it could be that, no, let me go to, hold on, before I do that, Revelation chapter 18, and then go down to this could totally happen in this way. This is one way it could happen. And let me get Revelations 18:6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. Verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Most High power Yahweh who judgeth her. Verse 9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And maybe that play into that as well. It could be that either the AI launches the nukes by itself, or the AI tricks them into launching the nukes. And this could be how it's brought about. How this judgment is brought about, and then they realize, oh, it was a glitch in the systems, so called, right? And when Yahweh Shai comes back, which will be basically simultaneously, they'll fight back. They'll fight Yahushua, try to stop him. But second Ezra chapter 13 verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. Verse 2. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. Verse 3. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Verse 4. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Verse 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Verse 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, flew upon it, and that was how they described the chariot, aka so-called UFO, fathership, not mothership, that he was on. Verse 7, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. Verse 8, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, yet durst fight. Verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lift up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Verse 10, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Verse 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. But anyways, yeah, and the rest of the deal. These devils and these heathens is going to captivity. But this could be the reason why, like what I was discussing earlier, the reason why Esau Edom, specifically Elon Musk, he's building basically the AI quote unquote God, quote unquote, in the middle of Memphis, Tennessee. But anyways, it could be, But anyways, I hope this live was edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles. Salaki, I keep forgetting. But salutations to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well. And to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness and in all sincerity. And shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Abba Babal, dead to Babylon. Abba La Adawamim, dead to these Edomites. Abba La Gawayim, dead to these other nations. And Abba La Ayab Yam Nawa, which means in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, death to our enemies, which it will come. The Most High Power Yahweh will bring it in time, and that time is coming soon. We're going to bring it soon. Shalom, stay strong. Abba Babal, Wa, meaning and. Yasharallah forever, man. Israelites got next, they got next forever. Shalom, stay strong. Abba Babal. We're almost out of here. Shalom.